Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful crochet top. So we're going to get started with our yarn as well as a 4.5mm crochet hook. We're gonna start by making a slip knot, and you can do this in whichever way you prefer. Now after making your slip knot, go ahead and make 76 chain stitches. To do a chain stitch, simply yarn over and pull through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can go ahead and continue your chains until you have 76 chains in total. Now once you've created your 76 chains, go ahead and skip your first chain stitch, which is here, and we're going to start our row by doing half double crochets. Now to do a half double crochet, yarn over your hook, and inside the second chain here, we're going to insert our hook and pull through a loop. That's going to leave us with 3 loops on our hook, at which point we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Now at this point, you can go ahead and take a crochet marker and place that on the first stitch. Now we want to do a total of 50 half double crochets in total, so I'm going to continue the row doing half double crochets, and that's going to leave me with 25 remaining chain stitches. So again, to do a half double crochet, we yarn over a hook. I'm going to insert my hook into the next chain, pulling up a loop. With 3 loops on my hook, I'm going to yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So I'll do that again. Yarn over your hook, insert your hook inside the chain stitch and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So again, I'm going to continue doing my half double crochets until I've done 50 in total. Now once you've done your 50 half double crochets, we're no longer going to continue the row doing half double crochets. Instead, we're going to finish the row doing slip stitches. To do a slip stitch, insert your hook inside the next stitch and pull through a loop. Now pull that through the loop that would have already been on your hook, and I'm just going to go ahead and take a marker and place that on my first slip stitch. Now again, I'm going to continue the row doing slip stitches, and I should have 25 slip stitches in total. So to do that, insert your hook inside the chain and pull through a loop. Then we're going to pull that through the loop already on the hook. Pull through a loop, pull that through the loop already on the hook. So just go ahead and continue doing your slip stitches going all the way down. And again, remember that you should have 25 slip stitches in total. Now, once you've completed your 25 slip stitches, go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to continue doing slip stitches going all the way up until we get back to our marker here. So we're going to do 25 slip stitches going all the way up to this point. Now to do the slip stitch, insert your hook inside the middle of the stitch, pull through a loop, and then pull that through the loop already on the hook. Again, I'll do that once more. We insert our hook through the middle of the stitch, pull through, pull that through the loop that would have already been on your hook. So go ahead and continue doing your slip stitches until you get to your marker, And again, this should be 25 slip stitches in total. Now once we get to our marker, we're going to remove it and complete our last slip stitch of this row. Then I'm going to place my marker back on that slip stitch there. This gives me an idea of where I should end or begin the round depending on where I am. Now once I've placed my marker on my last slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and resume doing my half double crochets. So again, that's where I yarn over my hook, insert, and I'm going to do it from the middle of the stitch here. So we yarn over, insert or hook through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop, and then pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So we insert or hook through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Now what this will do is that it will give it a ribbing pattern. So you'll see the half double crochet rib stitch is what I'll be using to make this top. So again, we do that by yarning over, inserting through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop with 3 loops on our hook. We yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So you can go ahead and continue your half double crochets going straight across to the end of the row. Now once you get to the end of the row and you've done your last half double crochet, chain 1 and turn your work. Now the pattern that we just did, we're going to continue that pattern until we have 14 rows in total, but I'll show you how to do it once more. Once you turn your work, you do your half double crochet inside that first stitch, and again we yarn over. We're going to insert our hook through the middle of the half double crochet, pulling up a loop, and with 3 loops on our hook, we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. I'm going to place my marker back on that first stitch here because this helps me to identify my first stitch of the row. Now I'm going to continue doing my half double crochets, and I'm going to continue that until I get to my marker here, which is where I'll start doing my slip stitches. So again, that half double crochet is done by yarning over. We're going to insert our hook through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop. We yarn over and pull that through. Yarn over, insert through the middle of the stitch, pull up a loop. With 3 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So go ahead and continue your half double crochets going all the way down until we get to our marker here. Now once you've completed your half double crochets, and in this row it should be a total of 50 half double crochets as well, we're going to remove our marker, and where our marker was, we're going to do our first slip stitch. So the slip stitch is done the same, pulling it through there. I'm going to place my marker back on that first slip stitch to keep my count. We should have 25 slip stitches in total. To do that slip stitch again, we insert our hook through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop, and then we pull that through the loop already on the hook. So we're going to continue doing our slip stitches, going all the way down to the end of the row, and again you should have a total of 25 slip stitches in total. Once you get to the end of the row, go ahead and chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to continue doing slip stitches in this row similarly to how we did it before, inserting our hook through the middle of the stitch, pulling up a loop and pulling that through. We're going to go ahead and continue doing our slip stitches until we get to our marker. So in each row at this point, we do 25 slip stitches in total. That's going to happen in every single row going forward. So you continue your slip stitches until we get to our marker here. Once we get to the stitch where our marker is on, we remove our marker and do our last slip stitch. I'm going to place my marker back on top of that last slip stitch. And then I'm going to resume doing my half double crochets. So I yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. By now you should be familiar with how to do a half double crochet stitch. So we're going to go ahead and continue doing our half double crochets going all the way up to the end of the row. And that's pretty much how we do this section. We're going to go ahead and continue the pattern as I have demonstrated until we have 14 rows in total. Now, after completing your 14 rows, this is what your work looks like. So just to give you a view of it, this is what our bottom of the work will look like. This is the midsection at the top here. This is actually going to be one of our shoulders. And now I'm going to show you how to work on making our turtleneck. Now we're going to start by doing 16 chain stitches at this point. Once we get to our last half double crochet here, we're going to add 16 chains to our work. So yarn over for 1 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now we're going to skip our first chain, and in the second chain we're going to do a slip stitch. So insert your hook inside that second chain, pulling through a loop, pull that through the loop already on our hook, and we're going to do our slip stitch going all the way down. So go ahead and continue your slip stitches. I would have done 1, 2, 3, 4 so far. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now I'm also going to include 3 more slip stitches on my work here where we would have had half double crochets. So we've done 15 so far. This would be our 16th slip stitch, 17, and 18. Now once we get to the 18th slip stitch, I'm actually going to take a marker and place it on that stitch. And then we're going to continue our regular pattern. So that's where we do our half double crochets going all the way down to our marker, and then we're going to do our 25 slip stitches to close out the row. So we yarn over, pull up a loop, and complete our half double crochet. And again, I'm going to continue doing my half double crochets as normal until I get to my marker. Now once we've gotten to our marker, we're going to do this as normal. So I'm going to remove my marker, and then I'm going to do my first slip stitch of the row, and I'm going to continue doing my slip stitches after. And again, at this point we should still have 25 slip stitches in total. So at this point you should be familiar with the stitch pattern, we're going to continue this as normal, going straight through to the end of the row, completing the row with slip stitches. And once we get to the end of our row, we chain 1, turn our work, and continue doing our slip stitches, going all the way back up to our marker. So that's our first one. Two, 3, 4, 5. Remember that in each row we do 25 total slip stitches. So I'm going to continue my slip stitches until I get to my marker here. And then of course, once we get to our marker, we're going to remove that and complete our last slip stitch. Now I'm going to place my marker back on that slip stitch there. This marker is going to help me to identify where my slip stitches begin or end depending on where I am. And then I'm going to continue my half double crochet stitches going from the inside of the stitch. The same stitches that you would have been doing in each row so far. And we're going to continue those half double crochets going all the way until we get to our marker here. At this point of our work, we should only have 47 half double crochets going all the way up. And again, we're going to do it until we get to our marker here. Now I've completed my half double crochets up until the point of my marker here. And I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to do a slip stitch. So we'll be doing slip stitches going all the way through to the end. And at this point, we should have 18 slip stitches in total going all the way up. Once I've done my first slip stitch, I'm going to place my marker back on that first stitch and continue doing my slip stitches through to the end of the row. Now once you get to the end of the row, chain 1. We're going to turn our work and continue doing our slip stitch all the way down to our marker. So again, at this point you should have 18 slip stitches in total, and you can go ahead and continue doing those until we get to our marker here. Now once we get to our marker, I'm going to remove that and do our last slip stitch. I'm going to place my marker back on the last slip stitch that we've done there, and then we're going to continue the pattern as normal, where we resume doing our half double crochets. So again, at this point you should be fairly familiar with the pattern. We're going to continue our pattern as normal. Once we've passed this marker here and we've done our last slip stitch, we're gonna do the pattern that we've been doing so far, and we complete our slip stitches here at the top to complete our turtleneck. Now this is what your work looks like after completing 60 rows for our turtleneck. Now go ahead, I went ahead and completed the work going all the way down here. I'm going to go ahead and complete another row going all the way up to our marker here, and then I'm going to show you how to complete the next row. Now once we've gotten to our marker, I've completed the row, and now I'm at the point where my marker is. Instead of doing a slip stitch, which is what we'd normally do to continue our turtle neck pattern, I'm going to do 3 extra half double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and this will replace the 3 slip stitches that we would have done on this side instead of the half double crochet which we would have normally done. And we're doing this because now we're going to continue the pattern here for our shoulders. So at this point I won't be going any further. I'm simply going to chain 1, turn my work, and do a half double crochet on the first stitch here. I'll place my marker back on that first half double crochet, and continue the half double crochets going all the way down, and we're going to do that until we get to the marker here, at which point we'll finish the bottom part as normal. So once we get here, we'll do our slip stitches as normal going down, and that's going to complete the row. Now we want to have the same amount of rows on this side as we have on this side. Now once completed, this is what your work should look like, this being our turtleneck and this being the bottom of our work. On both sides I have 14 rows in between my turtleneck here, so 14 rows are done on this side and 14 rows are done on this side. Now you want to go ahead and make 2 of the exact same pieces, so I've already gone ahead and made a second piece here, and it's going to be done in the exact same way as we did our first piece. And now I'm going to show you how to put the pieces together. So we're going to start by doing 5 stitches to start to put these pieces together, and our 5th stitch stops here where our marker is, and then we're going to skip 20 stitches, which is where these markers align with, and the space in between will be left open for our arms. So go ahead and take your yarn. I'm gonna wrap it around my index finger like this. Then I'm going to remove the marker from the first stitches here. Now where my markers were, I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into the first piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook through the other side, yarn over and pull through a loop. Now you want to chain 1. And this is just how we're going to get started. Now in that same stitch, I'm going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over your hook, insert it inside that same stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and complete your half double crochet, and this will count as a first stitch of the row. I'll also go ahead and place a marker on that first stitch. Now that's our first, and remember we'll be doing 5 in total, so that's 1, yarn over, inside the next stitch I'm going to insert my hook. I'll also be inserting it through the middle of the stitch on the other side, so like that, pulling up a loop, and then completing my half double crochet for 2, yarn over, insert through the third stitch, and pulling up a loop, yarn over, and complete your half double crochet. That's our third. And through this side we insert through the middle of the stitch, which falls here, pulling through a loop, Then I'm going to yarn over, pull the yarn through all 3 loops. That's our 4th, and you'll see our marker on our 5th stitch there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove my marker and complete the final stitch here. So I'm going to yarn over and just do a half double crochet to put the pieces together. Now once done, you can just go ahead and cut your yarn and pull it all the way through. And then again, we're going to be skipping 20 stitches on both sides. And I'm going to start here, completing the row going down. Now my marker is on my 20th stitch here, so I'm actually going to start my next stitch in the stitches that fall right after. So I'm going to insert my hook through the stitch on our first piece on this side, and I'll also be inserting my hook through the middle of the stitch on the other side. Now taking my yarn again, I'm going to wrap it around my index finger to start, and just like we did before, I'm going to yarn over and pull through and chain 1, and then do a half double crochet inside that same stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'll also place a marker on that stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue my half double crochets going all the way down until I get to my markers here, because that's when I'll be changing from a half double crochet to a slip stitch to close out the round. So I'll do a few more. Simply yarn over, and in the next stitch go ahead and insert your hook. We want to insert our hook through the stitch on this side as well, pulling through a loop. With 3 loops on the hook, we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So we insert through our next stitch. We're also going to insert through the middle of the stitch on the other side, pulling up a loop. Then we yarn over and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert through the stitch on this side. We're also going to insert it through the middle of the stitch on the other side like that. Pull up a loop and pull the yarn through all 3 loops. So again, go ahead and continue our half double crochets just as we've done until we get to our markers here, and beginning from our count at this stitch, we should have 25 stitches in total. Now once you've completed your 25 half double crochets going down, we're going to stop doing half double crochets at this point, and we're going to continue to close out the rounds, but instead of doing half double crochets, we're going to close them out with slip stitches. So I'm going to start by removing my markers. And in the next stitch, I'm going to insert my hook on both sides, pulling through a loop, and then completing a slip stitch where I pull that through the loop already through the hook. So you should be familiar with how to do a slip stitch. This time we're just going to do it on both sides. So on this side, we're also going to insert or hook through the stitch on the other side here, pulling up a loop, pulling that through the loop already on the hook. So I'm going to do a few more. So go ahead and continue your slip stitches going all the way down, and you should have 25 slip stitches in total. Now once completed, just go ahead and complete the same on the other side. Now once you've completed both sides, we're going to go ahead and put the portion for our turtleneck and our shoulders together. Now we're going to start by inserting our hook in the first stitch from our turtleneck and taking our yarn, wrapping that around my index finger. I'm going to go ahead and pull through a loop and chain one. That's just to get us started. Once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and do slip stitches going all the way down, and we should have 15 slip stitches in total. In that same stitch, I'm going to do my first slip stitch. So pull through a loop and pull that through the loop that would have already been on your hook for one. On both sides, we're going to do our slip stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4. So this is similarly done to what we would have done at the bottom here. So you can just go ahead and complete your 15 slip stitches going down. Now once you've completed your slip stitches going down, we're going to continue slip stitches going across to put our shoulder pieces together. Now the stitches here aren't as defined, so we'll have to select where we place our stitches in the most appropriate places going across. So go ahead and continue that going to the end of the row. Now once completed, you can go ahead and cut your yarn and then repeat the same on this side. Now once both sides have been completed, we're pretty much good to go. You may have a few loose strings like this left. I'm just going to show you how to do one, and you can do that for the rest that's on your project. I've already slipped away all my loose yarn, as you can see here. Now start by taking a crochet needle. For any loose yarn like this that you have, go ahead and insert it inside your crochet needle. And then you want to insert your crochet needle through the stitches going along your work and pull it all the way through. Now once you've done that, you can go ahead and turn your work inside out, and that pretty much completes it, guys. Now if you found this tutorial helpful, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!